Hey guys, welcome back, and this is the recap and review of episode 2, Messy as Fuck, of HBO's Insecure. Gosh, I'm insecure right now. And so this episode comes up just from where the other episode 1 leaves off. It's just as amazing. And so Issa spends the night at Molly's place because she didn't want to go home to her boyfriend Lawrence. I mean, he really tried to do Redbox and chill for her birthday, and didn't see any problem with it. He's just sitting around in his all day sweat. So he probably got that all day sweat smell. I mean, he couldn't even get dressed, take a fresh shower, or at least be naked when she came home. I mean, gosh, even a dick in a box would have been better than what he was offering her. But she decides not to go home. She's not answering his phone calls, and so she is avoiding him. And of course, Molly, as a good friend, allows her to stay home. And one of the great tropes that they're using in the episode, and that's why I'm doing it in my bathroom, is because every time that Issa gets in front of a bathroom mirror, she raps out her feelings. So she's like, do you want your man or not? Do you want to go home or not? And she's talking out her feelings or rapping out her feelings in front of the bathroom mirror and trying to figure out what to do. And she decides that she doesn't want to go home. Particularly since Molly interrupted her, was like, girl, we need to go eat something. And so Molly wanted to get the tea of what happened the other night with Facebook boo Daniel, and Issa's like, oh, nothing happened. And Molly's like, come on, like, you really dissed me for nothing? Like, you didn't get the D, you didn't get nothing, like nothing happened. And Issa's not giving up the goods. She's like, no, nothing happened. I just came to your place, and that was that. And so she was like, whatever. And Molly was like, well, I was thinking about what you were saying about the broken pussy thing, and I feel like I need to take care of myself. And so I'm gonna make it a Molly day. I'm gonna take a self-care day, self-help, self-care day. And she's planned to go to get a manicure and a pedicure, and she decides to go get her hair done. And then she's also getting a vajacial. Which apparently turns out, we later find out, is just some woman blowing bubbles at her vagina, which, whatever. I mean, she paid for it. It happens. Trust me. She said she saw it on Drea's Instagram, and that should have said a whole lot. But I can't say that I haven't tried out things that I've seen from Instagram people or just reality stars that I follow on Instagram, or celebrities. And so, I mean, again, this is with the realness. And so Issa's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go deal with my issues. Let me go. Maybe I'll go home and go talk to Lawrence while you're out doing all this stuff, because she's getting ready for a date. But before I even talk about that, Molly talked to Issa about, okay, so what is your problem? You have a man. You've been with him 5 years. He's not cheating on you. Like, what is your problem? Like, is he not putting it down? Are you not putting it down? Like, what's good? Like, why do you want to be out here in them single streets? Because trust me, it's hard. It's hard up here in these streets, especially for a Black female trying to find herself a straight man with goals that doesn't have STDs. And you can have kids or not, but don't have 5 kids with, how many baby mamas or just one. Like, I'm 33. I ain't trying to, I ain't trying to be a stepmom at 34 or 35 of 5 kids, that one of them close, like 17, close to my age, or could be in my classroom. Like, that's just uncomfortable. But anyway, so Molly tells her, Issa's like, oh, I want to know about this app life, what's going on all these apps I hear about. And so I love that Molly breaks it down, and it's so freaking true about all of these dating apps that are out there that Issa hasn't been on because she's been in a relationship for the last 5 years, which is really when these online dating sites and apps have really popped off. And so she starts off first with OkCupid, and they show little vignettes of her dates with these different guys, and she says, OkCupid is free, so you really much get in the bottom of the barrel guys that couldn't even put enough energy to pay to meet somebody, and people who are just maybe not have it together. And it's funny because I'm currently on OkCupid, and I feel like I'm about to get off. I'm really going to get off in a week, because I've met nothing but, see the episode. She met one guy that was talking about, I'm just, let's order something cheap, or let's, it was just so typical of just like whatever. Then she talks about Tinder, been on there too, and talks about Tinder's really, it used to be good, but now it's really just like a fuck app, which is hilarious. If you watch this other show that I love, Showtime's Shameless, they also talk about one of the main characters, Fiona, is now on Tinder and using it as a way to meet guys and just have sex with them and then not have to deal with them. And so Tish, what she said, Tinder really is a fuck app right now. And so she shows a vignette of some guy coming in and he's like, let's skip the meal. You be the 6, I'll be the 9. And it's like, it's so gross. I don't even know you. Like you, that's how you get STDs. It really is how you get an STD or a baby with a fuckboy. And then so she talks about Hinge, which is where I think I've done that one too, where Facebook, whoever you're Facebook friends with, you kind of like, you can only be matched or paired up or shown the person's profile if they have a friend in common with you. And she said that she finds out that mostly it's hotep dudes. And if you are a black person, you know what that means. Somebody who's, selling Obama puzzles in an African market, or, selling oils and incense on the streets, or selling his self-published, urban drama, the player's girlfriend, the gangster's wife, like all these things. And it was funny because she was like, yeah, dude was, saying all this stuff, but he was like, he was sitting there judging Molly, because she had never, as a person who grew up in LA, she had not been to the beach until she was in college. And she's like, you know what, and even Issa was taken back by it, but she's like explaining, like, I'm a hood chick. Like, I grew up in the hood. I didn't know anything but the blocks around me. And so getting to where I am now and successful is really significant, because growing up, it was very limited. And so it was crazy on that one, but I thought it was hilarious. And she said she still had sex with him because he was cute, and he was cute. And so, that happens too. Like, we're all human. Like, gosh, like guys want to hear either you taking too long to have sex with them, or you have sex with them too early and they lose interest, or you say you don't want to have sex, or you don't have sex. And it's like, why am I not having sex? I'm a grown woman. And so I have needs, you have needs, but I just don't want you to feel like you should only use me as a sex vessel, but don't want to have a relationship with me. So I love that she talked about all these different apps, and I so agreed with her on every single one of them. And I can talk about all of them in a different video, and I probably will now, because I just thought it was so hilarious and how close it was to home. I was like, girl, that's exactly what I've been thinking about OkCupid. But anyway, so Issa sees what's going on. She's like, oh man, I don't want to deal with that. And so while Molly goes off to have her self-care day, Issa it goes home, but she doesn't go in. She's like, she looks at it, she's like, I don't want to deal with him. So she decides that maybe she'll stay at Molly's a little bit longer. And she was like, well, I can borrow clothes from Molly, but I can't borrow underwear. So she goes to Rite Aid to get some underwear and a toothbrush. And of course she runs into her boyfriend Lawrence, who was there to buy a Drake card for her, happy birthday card, because he realized, or he at least thinks that the problem is that he messed up on her birthday. So he went to go get some party stuff to maybe throw her a little party at home and to make up for it. And they get into it because he's like, why haven't you been home? Why aren't you picking up the phone? I called Molly and she's not picking up the phone. Like, where have you been? What's going on? Why are you buying underwear? Like, are you planning to stay? Like, you're not coming home? And she's like, oh no, but it really is like avoidance, but this is real. This is how real relationships are, like when it's tough. And you're like, as much as Molly's talking about how hard it is out here to be single, relationships are tough too. And this is just a tough spot for the two of them. And I just thought that was crazy that it was happening in the Rite Aid. And, and it just didn't get resolved. She's like, stop yelling at me. I'm just not really ready to talk to you. And she walks off and he walks off. And of course she comes back with the, can I use your Rite Aid card? And he's just like, no. It's just so funny. But anyway, I love it. I just love this show. Can you tell how much I love this show? It's so great. And so after that, she goes back to Molly's place, and Molly comes home and she's like, oh, why are you still here? I thought you were going home. And she's like, girl, I saw him. I don't want to feel like dealing with him. So can I just stay here and borrow some clothes and whatever? And of course, Molly allows her to. Molly goes on her date with this new guy that she's hoping that she said you have to fuck a lot of frogs to find a prince, which is hilarious. Fuck a lot of frogs. Again, I feel like me and Molly could be friends. Like where my Molly at? Anyway, but so she goes on this date with this guy and he seems real cool. They meet at a bar. They talk about their experiences on all these different dating apps and it seems to be going really well. And he orders, a nice bottle of wine. He seems to know, seem to be kind of cultured. And of course, when they walk outside and, she's just trying to catch a real nightcap. Like, do you want to get some coffee? Do you want to go talk somewhere, take a walk? And of course, he leans in and says, we gonna fuck or not? And Molly's face just drops. Like it looks like she's ready to like Solange kick him in the throat. Like, when Solange had to kick Jay-Z in the throat because we found out that, Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce. And it looked like she wanted to do that. But she told him off, like, what the hell? Like, this is so ridiculous. Why does it have to be like this? Why does it have to end like this? Why is this how what you want from this? And so it was just absolutely... I just felt so bad for her. She walks off, she's mad, and Issa is home, and the next day she she goes to work and she's wearing Molly's clothes and she's feeling all power woman. She got the power suit on from Molly, her super successful friend, and she had to do a actual presentation at work and decided that I'm not even gonna like prep for this. These white folks that I work with who, she's the only black female that works at her job. I'm like, I'm just going to take whatever I say. We're working with inner city kids, whatever. And she goes and embarrasses herself and says, we're going to introduce the kids to the arts. And the staff meeting is just hilarious. They're like, what kind of arts? Performing arts, dancing arts, visual arts? Like, what is it? Is there a budget? And she's just sitting there like, I don't know. And then it goes into this whole thing where everyone is just bringing up these like really crazy things. One guy says he took African dance in high school and then he can teach the kids how to do African arts. And another person says we can listen to Beyonce's Lemonade and go to the restaurant Lemonade in LA and just eat lemonade and be lemonade. And another person said, let's do a African drum circle because it's good for aggression. And all of that is just like, oh my gosh, so problematic. Yeah, so problematic. But eventually, Issa realizes the error of her ways. Her boss closes down the meeting. Even her office mate that was doing the presentation with her was talking about sports related. Let's take them to do community service. And they're just like, no, like come up with something better. And at that point, Issa realizes that things have been really stagnant, not just in her love life, with her relationship with Lawrence, but also at her job too. And her boss really picked up on it and said, it isn't like when you started here, I hired you because you seemed so passionate. Now you just seem to be kind of twisting in the wind. You kind of seem like you're not invested in this. And Issa's trying to explain to her like, yes, I am. So she goes back. And she thinks about texting Lawrence, but she decides not to. She's like, oh, I'll figure out how to deal with that. And then she goes to her office mate, her coworker that she was working on this project with, and they figure out something. She remembers the conversation she had with Molly about not, ever going to the beach, and realize that these kids need to see something outside of their block. And sometimes the best way to kind of break through is to kind of move them into a space where they can see all the possibilities. You can see the ocean that has endless that goes on, and you can't see the end, and it's endless, and the possibility of it. So they come up with this great presentation about bringing the kids to the beach, and then they can clean up the beach too, and so they have the community service and something that they would never have experienced before, but also would open their minds. And I just love it because as a teacher, I just love all these different ways of just talking about helping young people, like realistic ways of helping young people, instead of just saying, let's just put a basketball group in there and make them only focus on using sports to get out of to move up socially and economically. And it's like, that the chances of getting into a professional sport is very low. So we need to stop doing this to our black and brown kids and telling them that sports is the only way. So I love this conclusion of it. Issa eventually goes home. She goes home and has to deal with Lawrence, and she just, you can tell they've been in a relationship a long time. They just kind of look at each other and just was like, sorry. And he mentions a conversation that's really funny that I missed, with him having a conversation with one of their neighbors who happens to be a blood, and he had his daughter, and he was talking to Lawrence about how to change up things in his relationships. He's talking so reckless in front of his little girl. But it's just hilarious. I love this show. And they seem to kind of gotten it together, but you can tell nothing has really changed. And it just seemed too comfortable in their relationship. And so I'm looking forward to see what happens from that. Also for Molly, let me not forget, Molly actually runs into the dude from the first episode that she met at the club and then ran off, and then he seemed to be still interested in her. He called her broken pussy on the street, so I don't know about that, but at least he remembered her and was making a thing. So that's it, and I can't wait for tonight's episode, for episode 3. And let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. My lighting is like really bad in here, but hopefully I'll figure it out while I'm taping this in my bathroom mirror. And let me know what you guys think. All right, bye.